Very excited to introduce our next guest, Vito Acconci. From a background of writing and then his legendary art practice in the 60s and 70s, Vito became a designer and architect and formed Acconci Studio in 1988. Acconci Studio mixed poetry and geometry, computer scripting and sentence structure, narrative and biology, and they are working at the moment on a floating park in Vienna, on an amphitheater in Stavanger, as well as a strip mall makeover in Georgia. Vito is today going to present writing, poetry as an umbilical cord in all the different aspects of his practice, in design, in architecture, in performance, in installation. A very, very warm welcome to Vito Acconci.
Thank you. This reading will be in five parts, short parts. The first part is page space, poetry, what I was doing from the mid to late 60s. Here, there, here and there, I say here. I do not say now. I do not say it now. There and then I say there. Say there. I do not say then. I do not say then this. Then I say here and there. First here. I said here second. I do not talk first. There, then, here goes. I do not say what goes. I do not go on saying. There is. That is not to say. I do not say that. Here below. I do not talk down. Under my words. Under discussion. All there. I do not say all. All I say. The second part deals with people's space, art installations from the mid 70s. This was a piece of three walls. It was a piece called Gangster Sister from Chicago. Voice went from one wall to another wall. And I'll try to approximate it. Mama, I didn't know what I was doing. Daddy, is that my face? Is that my face? Mama, whose hand is that? I wasn't myself. Brother, Mama, Sonny, where's the body? Mama, I couldn't help myself. Mama, but where's sister? Big sister says, you're just a boy. Daddy. And the gangster sister says, crack, baby. Jesus, it's me, isn't it? Jesus. And the little sister goes, ooh. The third part goes to the 80s, when work of mine was starting to be architecture. So the third part is is what I'm calling rehearsing architecture. A passage from an essay written in the early 80s. The essay actually was based on an assignment, a teaching assignment, given not to an architecture school but to an art school, and this is one of a series of assignments that had to do with house building, and I'm going to just flip through some projects that and this was before Acconci Studio, some projects that I was doing at the time. Now that you have a roof that's supported by 4 columns that hold up 4 walls, you have closed the house up. You've turned the house into a solid, impenetrable object. What was supposed to be a house becomes something like sculpture. So you need to loosen the boundaries of the house. You want to connect the house with something outside itself, something that isn't a house. So you decide to have a window. This is a definite choice, a definite preference. For the first opening into and out of the house, you have decided on a window, not a door. This has certain implications. If you've built the house from the outside so that you can't get in, then the choice of a window might imply that you're not ready for a door. You're not ready yet to throw yourself into the middle of things. But you'd like to keep your options open. You welcome the chance to survey the house from outside, the vantage point of an outside observer, an outside commentator who can make a detached analysis. Or maybe you just like to stay frustrated. On the other hand, if on the other hand you've built the walls from inside so that you can't get out, the choice of a window might imply that you're satisfied with where you are. You're not ready to leave yet, but you don't mind getting a glimpse of what's on the other side of the fence, as long as you can remain secure while doing so. In the meantime, you don't want to be bothered. You won't let the others in. There's no door. But you're not adverse to teasing them a bit. They can look in through the window, but they can't touch. I want to, no, actually, if I read more from this, we'll use up time quickly. The fourth part of the reading goes to the 90s with notions of public space. And an excerpt from an essay I wrote in the early 90s called Public Space in a Private Time. One section begins, "Time is fast and space is slow. Space is an attempt to place time and understand time. Space is a need to have something to see and solid ground to stand on. Space is a desire to follow the course of events and to believe in cause and effect." Then skipping to the next part, public space in an electronic age is space on the run. Public space is not space in the city, but the city itself. Not nodes, but circulation routes. Not buildings and plazas, but roads and bridges. Public space is leaving home and giving up all the comforts of the cluster places that substitute for the home. Space on the run is life on the loose. There's no time to talk. There's no need for talk, since you have all the information you need on the radio you carry with you. There's no need for a person-to-person relationship, since you already have multiple relationships with voices on your radio, with images of persons in store windows and on billboards. There's no time to stop and have a relationship, which would be a denial of all those other bodies you're side to side with on the street. One different body after another, one body replacing another. There's no time and no need and no way to have deep sex. In a plague year, in a time of AIDS, bodies mix while dressed in condoms and armored with vaginal shields. The body takes its own housing with it wherever it goes. It doesn't come out of its shell. The electronic age and the age of AIDS become intermixed in an age of virus, whether that virus is information or disease. Each person becomes too infected, either with information or with disease, to be with another. You come to visit, not to stay. Thank you. Going to section number 5, which deals with the present decade architecture. I'm going to read from some descriptions of some projects that probably show that, like it or not, the projects still begin, at least at the beginning, with words. Muir Island, Graz, Austria, 2003. A twist in the river, a node in the river, a circulation route in the river. The node is an island. It's a bowl that twists into a dome, that twists into a bowl. The bowl is a theater, the dome a cafe. The space in between, the space in between, the warp from bowl to dome and vice versa, is a playground. Roof like a liquid over the plaza, Center for the Performing Arts in Memphis. A swath of something, it could almost be a liquid, swoops out from under the overhang above the entrance to the building. It's as if a liquid has been flung out from under and frozen in the air. So that the roof can stand up, it's pulled down. As the roof is pulled down, it's pulled up into a funnel. Sunlight comes in and shoots down across the plaza like a spotlight, like the spotlights on stage inside the Performing Arts Center. Outside, the roof shouldn't be an object within the site. It should be an instrument that transfers the site and transmits the site. It's as if the surroundings are formed and transformed into a roof. The roof is mirrored above and below. The ground rises up to the roof while the sky falls down. Inside the column, you're outside. The sky is your roof, and sunlight pours down on you from above. The wall that circles around you reflects the sky. Again, skipping some stuff. A proposal we made for a skate park in San Juan in 2004. Drop in from on high. Define the site for the skate park by taking the 3 raised parts of the site. In the middle, the pedestrian ramp over the restaurant. On one side, the conical hill near the stadium. On the other side, the slope up to the plateau over the ocean. Connect the dots and make a T over the ground. It provides a surface within the overall park on which to skate the park. Let the elevated areas form the skate park. The park flows down the ramp. It flows through the hill. It flows up the mound and off the edge of the plateau. It drops into the sea like a wave. Thank you. Is time nearly up? Okay. Let me just end with a kind of mythical, hypothetical proposal we made in 2002. I obviously mistimed. Well, actually, let me read this one, which is a current project. Again, a kind of semi-mythical project. The Guggenheim Museum asked the Guggenheim Museum in New York asked a number of people to, in effect, design a new Guggenheim. It obviously wasn't going to be built, but they asked about 200 architects to come into competition with Frank Lloyd Wright and design a Guggenheim. So we proposed something called a kind of spider museum, the Wright a web, spinning googie, because you just can't resist throwing yourself off the edge, because just this once you might happen to fly. Walk the ramp for the Guggenheim as usual. Step off the ramp for the Guggenheim remix. Come into the void, swimming the void, squeezing through the void, walking on air, thick air, hanging by a thread, saved by a hair, cat's cradle, 9 lives, balls, balloons, bubbles, globes, space filling, packing Guggenheims, ghosts of Guggenheim's past, ghosts of Guggenheim's present, ghosts of Guggenheim's yet to come. Sleeping Guggenheims, suppressed Guggenheims, lurking Guggenheims, latent Guggenheims. All the possible Guggenheims at the tips of your fingers. Make your own Guggenheim, mix your own Guggenheim. All the possible Guggenheims in the palm of your hand. Physical computing, touch screen, squeezing the Guggenheim, giggly Guggenheim, your own private Guggenheim for the time being. Thank you. Thank you.